What's up, everybody? Doug Lane here, Fastlane Car Care, back with another video for you. So a while ago, roughly a year ago, I made a video and it was titled something to the effect of 5 things you need to know before you tint. And we went over several things, and it was kind of aimed at, what you should probably think about before you start your tint business or before you start tinting even. And I wanted to, kind of dive back into that topic and make another video, 5 more tips, things that you need to think about now that you or maybe you're this close to doing it, or maybe you've already started it and you've just started your business, your tent business. Let's go over some tips. So I took some notes. I went back here and I watched I watched my old video and took notes and all that good stuff. And the first thing I think that you need to know is that this is an art form. If you want to be really good, it's an art. Okay, so the problem with that being such a skilled job, process, whatever you want to call it, being that it's so skilled, it makes it difficult to scale. So really, and what does that mean, scale? That means you can't just hire anybody, right? It's not McDonald's. It's just not easy, right? You can't just say, okay, hey, here's the grill and, or in our case, the window tint, right? Here's the window tint. Psh, slap it on that window, she's done. You can't do that in this business. So you need to make a decision on if you want to be high quality, low volume, meaning you may only do 1 car a day, but that car is just, and then as you get faster, you develop you develop your skills, your time's going to go down. So, maybe you do 2, maybe you do 3. Or do you want to be that guy that's just kicking them out left and right, 7, 8 cars a day, but maybe they don't look the greatest? And why it's important to make that distinction or that choice right now before you get too invested is because your path to success is going to be different, right? You can't do both. You can't take the time necessary to get a near perfect result if you're only charging $99 a car. You just can't stay in business. There's not enough profit because there are going to be times you have to redo a window, right? And if you have $30, $40 in just tint cost per car, you really probably aren't going to be able to rip that window off because you don't like it and redo it. It's kind of like, you just get what you get, unfortunately. Me personally, I prefer to be the high quality, low volume, so charge more money, but the quality's a lot higher, and I think it's a lot easier to organically grow, to grow your business if you are high quality. The customers really do the advertising for you for the most part. And so second, that leads us to my favorite, scared money don't make money. And what do I mean by that? I mean, if you're not willing to invest in your business, invest in yourself, you're going to have a hard time growing. I know there's a lot of guys out there that still run Square appointments or like a calendar, just Google Calendar, whatever. It's really, really tough to compete with somebody like me that's using a CRM, that's doing online booking, that's doing automated review requests. They're doing confirmation text messages, emails, and I can tie in marketing to that. You can set up marketing campaigns, postcards, so many different things for this one little thing. So, and what I mean, so like a CRM, customer relations management software, spending $100 a month on something like that, or 150 or whatever. There's all kinds of different ones out there. But, at first you're probably thinking like, oh man, I don't know if I want to spend $100 on that. But this is what worked for me, okay? So I started out on this particular company. I use House Call Pro, not sponsored, don't care if you use them or not. I think their basic plan back then was like $67 a month, but they had this deal where you got to do 30 days free. and it wasn't, I think you actually had to pay the first month, but they like paused it. I don't know. Anyway, one of the things that I realized super quick is all of my customers are in one place. All their names, phone numbers, addresses, it's all right here. I can just type in John Smith. Okay, oh, there's that. There's his customer history. Here's how many appointments he's had. All these different metrics are available like that, one spot. I don't have to hunt. Oh, did he get a hold of me on Facebook, or did he get a hold of me on, did he text me? Did he message me? Did he message my business page? Sometimes you still need to know that information, but for the most part, boom, it's all there in one spot. Okay, so that was one thing. Secondly, and this is what really put me to the top as far as Google in my area, automatic review requests. So at the end of the job, I hit finish job, and it sends them a pre-done text. It sends them a text. It says your work with Fastlane Car Care is complete. If you have a couple seconds, whatever, here's this link. Follow the link to do our reviews. So customer clicks the link, fills out your review. I didn't have to call them, text them, or email them to ask if they would do it or anything like that. It's just done automatically. So what that allowed me to do is where I'd only get, 1 or 2 reviews a month or whatever. Now I'm getting 1 or 2 a week. So I quickly, and I'm talking like over the course of a year, I went from just starting out to having more reviews, more 5-star reviews than any of my competitors. Why that's important is because Google heavily, they use reviews heavily in their ranking process, or at least they did at the time. And plus, it just obviously, customer interactions. They're like, if you have 2 companies that are basically, that come up as for the same search result, and one has 200 5-star reviews and the other one has 10 reviews with like a 4.5 rating, which one are you going to go with? Especially when you click on the reviews and you're reading through and they're legit. Because yes, you can buy reviews, you can buy subscribers, you can buy followers. There's a place out there on the internet you can buy anything that you might need. I promise you that. If you look hard enough, you can find it. So, just that $60-some it just made sense, man. It's super easy. So it saves you time, saves you money, and then makes you money in the long run because you're getting to the top of Google faster, right? You're getting to be number 1 or at least ranking higher in a much faster time period. So that's great because the higher you rank, the more likely you are to get a call or whatever to get that job booked. And then, saving time with automation, automatically sending review requests, automatically letting the customer know that their car is ready so they can come and pick it up, automatically doing confirmations. I don't have to sit down and be like, oh, hey, are you guys coming tomorrow? You can set it up, customize it. You can do week out, day before, day of. You set up 100 different ways, and I don't want to talk too particularly about my system because there's, TintWiz is another great product. I personally have not jumped to TintWiz because they don't have online booking and they don't have built-in payment processing as I make this video. At least if they have, if they did, they just added it because they didn't. They didn't before, and that's why I don't use them. But if you're just starting out and maybe you don't need online booking, or you don't, you've got Square or some other payment terminal, they're a great option. It definitely has a lot of features that I wish that I could use, but like anything in business, you got to weigh the pros and the cons. I will say Eric, the owner of TintWiz, super, super great dude. So not enough good things to say about him or his product, just not the right fit for me right now. And so talking about money, talking about CRMs, talking about different software, that leads me to my third point, and that is money comes and goes, right? So, a lot of you guys are probably out there. You've got a lot of experience being a W-2 employee, working 40 hours for X amount of dollars. Maybe you work overtime here and there or whatever. But you generally know week to week what you're going to make, or month to month, you know what you're going to make. In being self-employed is just simply not that way, especially when you first start out. Now, once you scale and you've grown to a certain point, yeah, you can. But even then, in this industry, like it just kind of happens. Like maybe you do a bunch of front doors in a strip. You might do that for like all week. Well, that takes X amount of time, so your total may be lower than if you did a bunch of full cars per week, right? So it just depends. I can tell you firsthand from experience, you might make $1,000, $1,200 one day, and then the next day you don't make anything. Like I've had days where, or weeks, I should say, like everybody that calls, you'll be like, oh, I can do Tuesday. No, Tuesday doesn't work for me. Let's do Thursday. Okay, all right, put you down for Thursday, blah, blah, blah. And then, that goes, and like nobody takes that one day. Like I've had it happen where you get like 10 freaking calls or texts or whatever, and you just can't give that day away. So then what do? You know what I mean? Technically that day you didn't make nothing. About said a bad word. So when you first start out, that can be really scary because you're sitting there, you're looking at your calendar, you're looking at your books, and you're like, oh man, like I don't have anything on the books that day. Oh, what am I gonna do? Like, you're just waiting on this thing to ring, right? You're just waiting on it. Text, ding, messenger, whatever. You have to be ready and willing and able to understand that there are highs and lows. It comes and goes, especially if you're up north. In the northern climates, like I'm in Ohio, we get snow. This is starting to be the slow time of the year, and I'm really thankful that it took this long because I've seen a lot of guys on Facebook talking about, like months, like the summertime. They were slow during the summertime. Now, thankfully, I wasn't in that predicament. October, November, and December, my graph usually does look like this. It's a little bit lower than last year, but I'm not super concerned about it. Which leads me to another point. If you live in one of these one of these colder clients, if you live in one of these northern climates, you may not want to quit your day job in September. Like if you're just tinting on the side, nights and weekends, whatever, and you're racking in all this money, and you're like, yeah, man, I'm gonna quit, and I'm just gonna bet on myself and all that. You might want to wait until spring. I mean, take it from me. I'd quit my job, which I'd been working for like 2 years on my business, my nights and weekends and stuff. I quit in July. Yeah, I quit in July, and I thought I'm just going to run through July, the rest of July, August, September, October, no big deal. I'll have all this momentum and I'll have all this growth, so that'll carry me through November, December, January, no big deal. Yeah, no, it didn't work out that way at all. It actually really sucked. It was, money was really tight. A lot of sitting around trying to make the phone ring. And that's how I figured out a lot of the stuff that I figured out, guys. A lot of the stuff that I'm sharing with you is because I lived it. I went through it. I know what it's like to sit there. I'm not some fancy millionaire that's on his 16th business that, I'm just not that. I'm not that guy. So, don't quit your day job in the right before winter. Just don't do it. If you're in the southern climates, then maybe. But even then, I would be kind of lenient. Mainly because I kind of talked about this on my other video, you need time and trust in the market. you can be the best marketer in the world, but two things happen in the winter. People start saving money for Christmas, right? And so they're cutting down their disposable income, right? They're not spending it on, going out to eat as much and this, that, and the other. They're focused on what are we going to buy the kids for Christmas and all that. The second thing that happens is the weather changes, right? It gets cooler, especially if you're up here where it snows. Window tint's just not on the top of a lot of people's mind because they're not getting baked in their sun. You know what I mean? They're just not sitting in their car baking, thinking like, oh man, I really need my windows tinted. So those two things happen, and that really hurts our industry, but other industries as well. Really, if you're really into financials and stuff like that, you can see that spending for most sectors tends to go down, except for retail, during that last quarter of the year. And you just got to be prepared for that, guys. Which, kind of, I want to, before I touch on number 4, put some money away, guys. Like, if you're going hard and you're making a ton of money during the summer, don't spend it all. Okay, just don't spend it all. If you make $1,000 one day, put 200 or 300 in the safe or in your savings account or something like that. Don't just be like, hey baby, we just made the big bucks. Let's go out to eat and let's buy, let's hit the club. Let's buy champagne bottles and just don't do it because, next week might be a little slow. Next month might be slow. Start stacking that money during the summer and the warmer months when it's coming in, and keeping it so that way you're not stressed out, pulling your hair out, and in a situation of desperation during the winter. Okay, so that leads me to number 4. Okay, you have to market yourself. I kind of touched on this on my other video. You can be the best tinter in the world. You can be the best detailer or whatever, because this really kind of fits a lot of different businesses. You can be the best in the world, but if nobody knows it, nobody's calling you, right? I got my shirt here. You will almost never see me in public without my brand on. And a lot of people think that that you're not marketing. Like, if you're not making a post, that's not marketing. You are constantly advertising for yourself every hour of every day. Every time you step out in public, every comment you post on social media, if you are, let's say your vehicle has your company logo or your company information or anything like that, and you cut somebody off, guess what? You just advertised for your company. And I bet you it wasn't a good one either. You're constantly marketing. And so, especially in the first few years, you need to be everywhere. You need to be on Facebook. Now, you can't be scammy or spammy, okay? There's a fine line you have to tread here. You have to be adding value. That is the most important thing, and you can read any sales book, watch any sales seminar, or anything like that. They're going to tell you have to add value. You have to bring value to the marketplace. So, and the marketplace is basically just the world. If you're not adding value, people have no reason to follow you. You know what I mean? You can't just be like, hey, come follow me, come like my page, come subscribe to my YouTube channel. You have to give them a reason, and it's not just because I want you to. Give them enough free value. Give them enough reason to want to be friends with you, to want to follow you, or whatever it is, and to take your opinion as valid, right? Like, if you don't, would you go to a mechanic or somebody that claims to be a mechanic and just because they say, oh yeah, I know how to fix that, but they have no track record, they have no history, they have, you go to their Facebook, it makes no mention of, automotive cars or anything like that. And you're just like, does this guy really know? It's the same thing for you in your business. People need to be able to go on your personal Facebook page if you don't have a business one set up, which if you don't have a business one set up, you need to do that. And you also need to have a nice logo, not just some clip art thing that says Joe's Window Tint. My recommendations, I mean, you do you however you want, but I imagine if you're watching this, you want to be successful, and I want to teach you how to be as successful as you possibly can in the shortest amount of time possible. So, back to what I was talking about. If people stumble, let's say you don't have a business page, you're just nights and weekends, or you're just starting out or whatever, they ought to be able to at least go to your Facebook page, your personal page, your Instagram, whatever social media it is that you are the most prominent on, and see that, oh yeah, this guy's tinting windows. Like, this guy knows what he's doing. Like, dang, look at that car. You know what I mean? Because like I said, you need to be everywhere. You need to have your name when people in my area are, you've seen this post 100 times. Who does the best window tint? Or I'm looking to get my window tinted. Who does it? You want your name to be in that conversation every single time, no matter what. Even if it's, I only have $50 to get my windows tinted, you at least want your name in the pot. Even if that's not a job you want to take, or a price point you can't match, or whatever, you still want to get your name out there, because guess what? People notice over time, oh, this dude's been getting, or girl, whatever, this person's been, they've been in these conversations for years. These people have been mentioning him for years. Sooner or later, you're going to start gaining some customers that way. I can't tell you how many times, like I just had a guy yesterday that dropped off his vehicle, and he's like, yeah, I figured you must be pretty good because I asked and you got mentioned several times, and then I was talking to so-and-so and you did their car too, and blah, blah, blah. It's marketing. And kind of to get into that a little bit deeper, I've found my most success on Facebook. I did Instagram for a while. I just feel like, in my opinion, it's pretty difficult to build a truly local audience on Instagram. It's not as easy as it is on Facebook. And I want to build a local audience because obviously I don't want to drive to Texas to tint windows, or I don't want to drive 4 counties over or whatever. So when you're posting, all I do really is I just post my work, the finished product. I try to put together a well thought out caption, and you want to be seen as professional, right? We covered that. That goes down to your captions. Like, don't use slang. Once in a while is okay, but you want to look professional in the way you speak. The pictures you post, the things you say on social media, all that stuff. You want to be professional. I can't stress it enough. Be professional. It will help you out tremendously. I see on the different Facebook groups all the time people talking to potential customers, and they aren't professional. They're using slang. They are very I don't know how to say it without being offensive, so I'm just gonna say they just don't sound professional. If a customer texts you and says, "Hey, do you do window tint?" Your answer should not be, it shouldn't be sarcastic. It shouldn't be like, you know what I mean? It should just be like, "Yes, thanks for asking. What's the year, make, and model?" Something along those lines. Don't be like, "Well, it just depends on what you have," or, "Oh," just be professional. So, that goes for your captions on photos. Don't post a picture of a car that's maybe, old and raggedy and be like, "Look at this clapped out, piece of junk, whatever. Customer should have probably fixed the paint, but instead he wanted..." Don't say stuff like that, guys, because that car might be a pile of junk to you, but it may be their pride and joy. And even if it's not, you being mean to them about their car, they may see that and not like it, and it's probably going to turn off other people that read the caption as well. So just be professional. I cannot stress it enough, but it will take you so far in this journey. Number 5, persistence is key. So many people, they get into this business or any business, but I'm going to use this business because I've been at it for almost 7 years. They get into this business and they think they're going to get rich tomorrow. They get on the Facebook groups. What tools should I get? Everybody, sends them what tools they think they need. And, next week they're posting, well, how do you do this car? I'm struggling with that car. And it could be like the most basic, simple, straightforward window. They get discouraged and they quit. Being in business for yourself is not for the weak. It is not for the lazy. And it is not for the scared. Like I said earlier, the money comes and goes. That really freaks some people out. You really just kind of have to get into a mindset. The most important thing about any of this business stuff is your mindset, but you just can't quit, okay? You can't jump into it thinking that you're going to get rich tomorrow, and if it doesn't happen in 2 weeks, then you're just going to give up. I mean, if it's not for you, it's not for you, but it takes time to establish yourself in the industry. It takes time to establish yourself with your customers. It takes time to build your skill set. And your skill set's not just tinting, right? Your marketing skill set, your, just everything. It's all intertwined. It's a package deal. So, businesses fail at an alarming rate. It's something like more than 50% typically fail within 3 years, meaning they don't see that 4-year mark. If you've made it to where you can make a profit, you're making a profit on your taxes in the second year, you're doing really well. The third year, you're still doing pretty good. And then that could be a whole different video. Tax strategies and how much to reinvest and all that stuff. Maybe we'll do that sometime in the future, but for now, stick with it, guys. I can't tell you how many people in my area I've seen pop up as detailers or tinters, and a couple, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months, 6 months later, they aren't doing it. There was a local shop in my town, and never met the guy, but I did see his car, his personal vehicle in public. I'm not going to tell you what the license plate said, but I knew it was this guy's car, let's just say that. And I pulled up, I parked beside him at like Walmart or whatever, and he had dust and trash all through his window, like his driver or his passenger window. I was the only, I was the one I could see. Had the light, had like the cut edge where you could see where the tint was about that much. Let's see on camera, about that much too short, so it wasn't tucked into the seal. Just a lot of stuff that's like, man, if that's your advertisement, right? You're advertising for your business, and that's the quality of work you're putting on your personal vehicle. It doesn't really inspire a lot of confidence. So anyway, he pops up in the scene 6 months or so. This is like during COVID. 6 months or so, his name's popping up and keep hearing about him and stuff. And then after, I don't even think he made it a year, but I could be wrong. At some time later, I get a message, and it's this gentleman, and he says, "Hey, I referred so and so to you, blah blah blah. I see you do really good work, and keep it up." And I was like, okay. So I click on the guy's profile, whatever, and find out that he's the owner of that tint shop. I said, well, "Dude, why'd you refer him if you're tinting windows?" "Oh no, I quit. I had to go back to my day job. I got my job back and had to give up window tint. It just wasn't working out." Persistence is key. You know what I mean? I don't really believe in competition. I'm only competing with myself. I'm not really worried about what other people are doing. But at the same time, a lot of times it's not about who gets, to the end the fastest. It's just who gets there, who makes it, There's a lot of people, a lot of shops, a lot of businesses, and a lot of different industries. they're just out there trying to make that quick money right now. They're only worried about tomorrow. They're not worried about the next day or next year or next month. They just need that money right now. And a lot of times they're willing to do some shady stuff to do it. You know, I've seen tinters like trying to do whole cars for like $80. And I understand that if that's what you have to do to feed your family, then that's what you have to do. But the problem with doing something like that is now you're undervaluing your service. So it's really hard for you to charge $200 for a whole car when people know that you're willing to do it for $80. You know, so then, you know, Jim Bob calls you or texts you and says, hey, how much to do this car? And you say, oh, it's $200. Whoa, you just did my buddies for $80 2 weeks ago. Well, what are you going to do? Well, that was 2 weeks ago. Or are you going to say, well, yeah, we could do 80. Well, now you lost money twice. You know what I mean? So it's tough. Businesses, it's not easy. I'm going to sound like a broken record. Stick with it, guys. If it's really something you want to do, just understand that there are going to be highs, there are going to be lows, there's going to be times where you just feel on top of the world. There's times where you're gonna make more money than you ever thought possible, and there's other times where you're gonna sit at home and not do a dang thing. Like I said, especially in the first couple years. Just be ready for that, be prepared for that, and understand that regardless of what most people lie about on the internet, because a lot of people in these Facebook groups, they lie. Regardless of what they say, guys, most every one of us went through this. If we started our own business, we've experienced most of the same things. Yeah, there are some shops out there that have been handed down for generation to generation or whatever, but for the most part, we've been through a lot of these struggles, and there's no sense of lying about it. So with that said, guys, here's been 5 more tips for you. So thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video, because there's going to be another business video coming.